Hello, you're welcome back once again. Um, for this segment, we'll be looking at the law as it affects women and children. And with me on the left, is Barrister Joe Bode. The two of them actually are members of the African Women Lawyers Association Nigerian chapter. And on the right is Barrister Vivian Akhigbe. You're welcome, Maz.
Thank you.
So quickly, we're going to be looking at the laws we have at present. Prior to Beijing, our cry was that we didn't have enough laws to tackle the challenges of women and children. But since then, we've had the child's right laws, we've had the domestic violence laws, and they're being duplicated across or domesticated across the states too. Do you think we have enough now? Do we have enough now?
You never could have enough of the laws that should govern us. As we go along, we'll still continue to tinker with what we say we have right now, as we think of new ways of doing things and how it's affecting us. The world is moving faster than we are. We, in fact, are crawling. If we say rising from the June conference to date, what have we done? We said it was said that affirmation that 30% of elective positions should be given to women. That is not the same today. The law is there, or the affirmation is there, but it's not been done. We say that in terms of appointment, the same thing should apply. That is not the same. If we say scholarship to be given to women, that is not the same too. So, like I said before, the laws are in such a state that as we develop, then we will also tinker with our laws to take care of our needs daily. Because if you use the fire brigade approach, that because this is happening in country A, which probably have their independence some 200 and something years, and Nigeria is just how many years? We know that we are far behind, but slowly or surely we are sure that we will get to where we are going.
Okay, so what we have right now, if it's inadequate, are we making use of what we have? Are we making adequate use of what we have?
For some, maybe yes, in the sense that a few of us probably know one or two things, and not everybody knows what. If we take, for instance, the recent judgment in Oyo State that came up with the fact that a woman is entitled to the abode of.
That's actually the follow-up question.
Yes.
So let's take it.
That is based on a law that has been in existence since 1882. We are talking about
I was really thrown back when I heard the date.
1882 law that we are talking about in 2019. You see where we are? Well, that's still far. But it's a right step. The problem we have is not just the law, it's our culture, our moral code, our social interactions. It's so much where a woman should be. A woman should not speak certain way, a woman should not dress certain way, a woman should not associate. I mean, when I got married, I was told that all my male friends that are just friends, I must stop
being there,
interacting with them. And these are people I grew up with. As a young girl growing up, I'm the type you would call a tomboy. So the best of my friends are actually male. Those are the people that I do boxing with, I run around with. I mean, but I'm just told that the day you get married, you cannot
be friends with them anymore.
So who am I going to be friends with? So those are social issues. Until we address this, you bring up your female child and say, this is how you must do, this is how you must act, this is how you must dress, this is how you must do this. You also bring up the male child and say, this is how you must do, this is how he must be the man. Don't cry. Men don't cry. I don't know which country that says that a man is pained, he should not cry. What is that? Those are some of the social issues that makes it almost impossible for the so-called laws to be effective or to be used the way it should.
So we need to work on our women also, because these laws are there but nobody is accessing them, or the percentage of people accessing them.
Because they will tell you culturally, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, you cannot do this.
Okay. So I was going to go back. My follow-up question was the Oyo State landmark judgment. You know, what are your views about that judgment? Let's take it.
Yeah, my view about it is that this.
I need to remind our viewers what, those who don't know, the judgment, what it implied was that divorced women would now have a right to half of the property acquired in the period of the marriage, and so they gave the right to the woman to have access to the property that she and her husband had acquired during the course of the marriage. So, and then it was really jubilation across for women. We really danced.
We should not jubilate too much, because it's still going to go to appeal.
Yeah,
whether it will stand.
Auntie Jo, let Barrister Vivian take that for us.
Yes, the jubilation is this thing. The law has been there since, but it has never been implemented. So
same way all these laws they're making now are there and nobody's accessing them.
So for the court to give judgment on this, women are happy because a lot of women suffer. In the course of the marriage, they build together, and if any at the point of divorce or anything, they are sent away just like that, empty-handed. So for this now, we are rejoicing, we are happy, and we pray that going for the appeal, that the judgment will stand.
No, some people have already been telling us that the judgment may likely not stand the test because it's such a long time ago, 1882,
yes.
that it's outdated and it might not make the appeal. What's your take?
I don't know. Like I said before, when you go on appeal, depending on what you are presenting before the court of appeal, you're appealing against whether the entire judgment or a part of the judgment. So it depends on who is appealing and what is the reason why they are going on appeal. And when it gets there, who sits on the appeal, will also come to play. Whether they'll look at it the same way the person who looked at it at the lower court looked at it. We have not read in totality what the judgment really said. Some of us need to go. I have not seen the judgment as it is, and until I read the judgment, then I'll be able to make up my mind whether really. But it is open to go to appeal if they so desire.
So, we've been talking about the laws and the need to access. Also, the challenge here is the silence, the code of silence. How do your organization now, fighting for women and children, how have you fared in encouraging victims to speak up?
Well, we, in our own little way,
How do you do
we
it?
have tried to, you see, most of the times, when they come to you, for instance, if a wife have issues with her husband, like he's been beaten or battered and all that, and she has moved out of the home, some of the problems that emanate from that is sometimes this woman does not have means of livelihood, and if she does, it's not very adequate. So if she moves out of the matrimonial home, where is she moving to? How to keep them together is another issue. Now for us, we have a working relationship with some other organizations who have what we call safe houses, where we house them for the time being until we can raise enough money to probably get accommodations for them, at least to start up. Some of the problems we have in our own society is that there are no social security, things that in other civilized places backs you up, like you can access certain funds to assist you to resettle and the rest of that. We do not have things like that. And so if a woman has been battered by her husband and we cannot find a place to keep her, the likelihood is that it's either she goes back to the same husband or goes back to her parents or her family. Now, if she goes back to her parents or her family, some parents don't want to touch you.
Yeah.
And we will talk to him, he won't beat you again.
Yeah.
Some families, some relations will say, I have up to here, taking care of my own. How can I take you in with, I don't know how many numbers of children and things like that. So those are some of the problems you have. But in our little way, we encourage you to come out to talk. And because, for instance, in Lagos State, if you are caught beating your wife, it's a big problem in Lagos State. Lagos State they have a section that has been set up with hotlines, and they have replications in a lot of the police stations, so that for issues like that, they can handle it. They will put you in a place where you can be safe pending when the matter gets to court and is being prosecuted. That is where we are right now. And the same applies to young children that have been molested, whichever way. We try to get them to seek help, get doctors or get social workers to speak to them and see how we can establish you to a normal way of life. Sometimes it is something that lasts for some children, it lasts for a lifetime. For some mothers who have been through such violence, it takes a long time to heal. It takes a very long time to heal.
But you have something to add to that?
Yeah, my association, what we do, we'll reach out to women. Like we have market outreach where we go to the market, call the women together.
That's really nice.
And then let them know their rights, that they have the right to air their view, that we are there for them. They can come to us and let us know whenever they are having husband and violence at home, domestic violence, they can come to us. And we also go to schools, outreach too, where we bring different schools together and educate them on their rights. And then we'll have one-on-one counseling with them, and we'll hear a lot. And then we take it up from there. Whatever case we have at hand, we take it up. And the most important thing is for them to know their rights. They have rights to their body, not to allow anybody to just, misuse them and all that. Then the women too, that they also have the right to not to be battered.
So when you hear domestic violence, we always think about the women being battered. Now, have you experienced? Have you had any man coming to you to complain
No.
about being battered?
No.
You haven't.
No.
But
It is still a social issue because it is generally accepted that the male are the stronger of the two, and so your wife beats you. Let me use that word. Your wife beats you, they cry. So it's still a social. It's most time it is when it is so bad. In fact, almost to fatality that you get to know.
yeah,
The same way you can
Many
verbally
of them-
assault a woman. The same way the woman also, there are women who also assault men. That way. Mouth, hand, name it.
so and then eventually some of them get killed.
Oh yes.
That's been happening a lot now.
Yes, most times we are not conscious of what is happening around us. We just assume that I've lived with this person for so long. No, they've settled it. But the usual thing is, once you have issues like that, you should stay away for a few days, a few weeks, so that you all would, tempers will cool. If not, almost immediately, hey, it's a disaster.
So thank you very much. I think this is where this segment will end for today. We thank you for watching, and I thank you
Thank you.
for coming too.
Thank you.
Barrister Akhigbe, thank you very much for coming. Okay. This is Yetunde Arebi signing off.